So, if you've been selling one on one coaching or customizing your consulting proposals for every single client, I want you to think about creating a standardized offer. So, maybe you've thought about this before and you don't know where to start, or maybe you think it would just take too long to monetize that, or maybe you think that's not going to work for the kind of coaching or consulting you do. But look, I'm going to make this really easy for you. We're going to do 6 things, actually only 4 things, and if you do them today, you could actually start selling a standardized program tomorrow. It really is that straightforward. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about the easiest, simplest way possible to create an irresistible signature offer. Now, this works for both coaches and consultants. Coaches, I am going to show you how you can use this even if you do relationship coaching or career coaching and you can't promise an outcome at the end of a specified amount of time, okay? And consultants, I am going to show you how you can create a reusable product that you can use as an entry point for your land and expand strategy. Okay. This can be really powerful for you. By the end of this video, I'm going to answer your questions about time frame, how to price it, how to structure it, and how to enroll your first few clients in it. So if that sounds good to you, stick around. I'm Laura Zavelson, and this is the Gen Expert Show, where we talk about how you can level up your coaching, consulting, or independent expert business so you can get to your enough number, you can enjoy and take care of the people in your life, and you can be confident that you never, ever have to be out there looking for a job again. So, the way I think about it, there are 6 essential pieces you need to figure out your first offer and get it in front of potential clients. And I'm going to walk you through them in just a second. And I'm going to give you the answers for 2 of them. So, you're really only going to have to make 4 decisions before you get this out in the world. So, look, I know this quick turnaround approach that I'm going to share with you is going to make some of you uncomfortable. But one of the things I see all the time is that clients have a great idea for a program that could just be a knockout. And they get stuck because they start overthinking, well, what is the information I'm going to put in there? And how long is it going to last? And I'm going to have to do all this pre work. And they just overthink it and it totally stalls out. Or they build the whole thing before they ever share it with clients, and then it dies because no program actually survives the first contact with clients, really. So, the approach that I want to talk about today is something that I learned from the venture capitalists that I used to work with, and I used to teach it in my entrepreneurship classes. Basically, what we're going to do here is create a minimal viable product or an MVP, and we're going to build it while people are using it. And that's going to help us build it faster and make something better than if we built the whole thing and tried to make it perfect and then put it in our clients' hands. Because what happens is if you build the whole thing out and then you get feedback and then you change it and then you get more feedback and then you change it again, that just takes longer and it can get really expensive. So this is the process that every tech startup company uses today. But what people don't realize is that this process is completely applicable to your solopreneur service business. And it's backed by tons of research from places like Harvard and Stanford and MIT. So why don't we just lean on those big brains out there and apply what they've already learned to our businesses to make them go faster and to start bringing in money sooner? So here's the plan. I'm going to show you the components of an offer. And then I'm going to give you best practices for 2 of the components. Now, for the other 4, I'm going to give you a framework to figure it out because I can't do it for you because I don't know exactly what your niche is. Okay. And then if you want more support, I've got my signature offer starter kit in the description and the show notes so you can work through it online. Does that sound good? So here are the components of any signature offer. And what I mean by signature offer is that it's the program where you're making most of your money. Um, and yeah, I did say that. If you're making under $500,000 a year, you only need one main offer. Look, you could have a starter offer or 2 that kind of leads people into this bigger offer. But I am all about creating a simple business. And a bunch of offers, honestly, just creates a bunch of complications. Okay. So, simple business, one main signature offer, and this is how you're going to put it together. So here's what makes a standardized coaching or consulting program different from the one-off, maybe fully customized work that you're doing now. First, it has a fixed time frame. Second, it has a fixed price. So it's not like you send out a proposal and like you customize the price for every client. You just say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how much it's going to cost. And this is how fast I'm going to do it. Okay. The third part is that it has a very specific person problem, and promise in mind. And finally, it has a milestone structure. And I'm going to explain why that's important in just a minute. So I'm going to give you the best practices for the first two right in the video. The first one is the time frame. In terms of time, just make it 90 days. Okay. You can evolve it later, but your first one, 90 days is a great place to start. My first program was 60 days, and I think I changed it to 90 days after the first three people went through it. Because while you technically could do the work in 60 days, life gets in the way for your clients, just like it gets in the way for you. People have kids get sick, or they get busy, or they don't do the homework one week. And so start with 90 days. And then after you have some people go through the program, if you think you need more time or you can do it faster, faster is always better, then change it. Okay. 90 days. Start with 90 days. So the second gimme I've got for you is how to price it. So remember, what we're doing is we're giving people a prototype. It's not fully baked yet, but they are still getting coaching or consulting, and there's value in that. So I'm thinking start like $1,000, $1,500. That's a nice accessible entry point for coaching. For consulting, you might be able to go higher depending on your niche and your relationship with the client. Then, as you build and learn, you can raise your prices. So, for my program, I think I did $500 for the first three people. I think I left money on the table, to be perfectly honest. I definitely think I could have charged 1,000 or 1,500 and still had those three people come into the program. Then I raised the price by $500 for the next three, and then I think maybe 500 or 1,000 more for the next three. And then by then I had it mostly built out, and so I raised the price to where it is now, which is at $3,000. Okay. So I've had people ask me, why would you go low to start? And the reason is because we want to entice people to come into a program that's not polished. It's like when you use a subscription app, right? And they offer you a feature that's in beta. They know it's not perfect, and they know that there's going to be bumps in the road. And so instead of having you get mad at them or get frustrated or saying, why did I pay all this money for a product that doesn't really work right? They want you to use it and see if you like it and give them feedback and be engaged with them and helping them build it out. And there's definitely customers who enjoy that. And so that's the same thing we're doing here. We are offering your first customers a lower rate so that we can kind of practice on them basically and get it right. And the nice thing about coaching and consulting programs is that they usually fall into place pretty quickly. So you're not going to be in this kind of building situation for that long. So now for business planning purposes, when the thing is up and running, you want to be aiming to charge between $3,000 and $5,000 for the 90-day program. It's not that you can't charge more than that. Please feel free. But if you do charge that much, it should start to give you a stable foundation for your business, and then you can build on that, right? Okay, so the next pieces are all you. I can't do them for you, but you can use my 3P framework to figure out the person, the problem, and the promise. And again, grab a copy of my signature offer starter kit. It's in the description or the show notes. It's a workbook that's going to help you work through this. Okay. So the person is who you help. The problem is specifically the problem this course or program solves. So it's probably a sub problem of one that your whole business focuses on. And the promise is the benefit the person or business gets when their problem goes away. So honestly, the three P's are where a lot of offers go sideways. The first thing I see is that people try to solve a problem that's too big. So look, this is not a college course of information where I'm going to see you for three times a week for an hour, and then I'm going to give you homework and going to school as your main activity, right? This is 90 days where you're going to see your clients maybe once a week, every 2 weeks, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And don't forget that your clients have lives and jobs. So they can only process and learn and develop just so much over the period of time, right? And so go small to start. Because if they get their win quickly, they're a lot more likely to become part of your fan club than if they get to the end and they're not done yet and they still don't have a result. So the second thing I see all the time is that people just try to cram everything that they know into a program. You have to remember you're an expert, okay? You know a ton about your topic. At least I hope you do. So, but as coaches and consultants, your clients really do not want the backstory, okay? They want the shortest path possible from problem to solution. And so, where your expertise comes in is to figure out the fastest, most effective, most streamlined way to get them there. So, if you want to include background information or bonus references, that's fine, but they should be optional. We want the spark notes versus the unabridged collection. So, the third heads up I would have for you is that a lot of times I see people focus on the process instead of the promise when they talk about and they market their program. So, when I talk about creating thought leadership in some of my other videos, I do encourage you to talk about every step of your genius process, right? Because that's what helps people trust you. But when we start to market the program, when we start to talk about what specifically is going to happen, people don't want to know about, well, you're going to take this assessment and you're going to go through the 87 steps, right? They really don't want the 87 steps. So your best bet is to focus on what they get, preferably tangibly, at the end of the 90 days. So, what do they have to hold on to when the 90 days is complete? So, let me take just a quick minute and explain how this might work for a relationship coach or a career coach who can't promise, you're going to fall in love or you're going to find a job in 90 days. So, how do you create a program? Well, here's what you can promise. So, you could promise that they'll have a clear picture of who they're looking for and a list of red flags so they don't keep falling into the same traps, right? Or you could promise they could have an updated bot friendly resume and a 6-month networking plan. So your program doesn't have to deliver that ultimate aspiration. It just has to fix a frustrating problem that your clients have trouble solving on their own. And consultants, here's how this might work for you. So, your irresistible offer often looks a lot like phase one of your proposals, right? Often it's an audit, could be creating a 3 to 6 month strategy that will achieve a specific result. It could be designing an organizational structure. Maybe it's a workshop series, okay? The important thing is it's the same thing every time for the same price. Imagine how much work that's going to save for you. Okay, so everybody now, we are almost done creating our offer, right? We picked a time frame, 90 days. We picked a price tag, maybe a grand, $1,500. That's going to go up to $3,000 or $5,000 once it's fully built out. You decided on a person, a problem, and a promise that you can deliver on. Okay. The last piece is we do want to give it a little bit of structure for those first few clients. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is the part that's probably going to change between when you start and when you start charging full price. So, right now, all we need is to put a stake in the ground. So I want to take your 90-day journey and I want you to break it into three 30-day focus areas. So, for instance, in my business breakthrough program, in month one, we focus on getting clear on your niche and doing exactly what I'm talking about right now, designing your signature program. Okay. Then in month two, we focus on your business model and we figure out how you're going to get to your revenue goals, your big ones. Okay. And then month three, we focus on building out your map to me so people can find you and hire you. All right. So think about how that might work for your program, but don't get too attached to it because finding out what those 30-day focus areas are is actually one of the things you're going to learn as people go through the program. So last thing, how do you get people to start working with you so you can build it out with feedback? And what I would recommend is that you do one-on-one calls because they keep people accountable and it's how you get your best feedback. So either every week or every other week, do a one-on-one call with everybody who's enrolled. Because even if you intend to move that to group calls later, because ultimately one-on-one calls with people in the program would be overwhelming. But when you're starting, that information that you're going to get from people about what's hard for them, what their questions are, where they're running into trouble, which of your tools work and which of them don't work, that is just going to be invaluable to you when as you're building, right? You want that kind of feedback. Then, after you've had people go through and see patterns, you make those one-on-one calls, a group call every week or every 2 weeks. And later, you might take that information and start to put some of it in videos, and you could record it. You could build a community around it. There's a lot of things that you could do, right? But I don't want you to get hung up on that right now. What we want to do, remember, is build that minimum viable product, get it out there into people's hands, and have them start giving us feedback. So, to recap, the most important thing to remember about creating your irresistible offer is that it's all about creating the best possible outcome for the client. Do that, and it will grow your business, I promise. Second, Do not overthink the details. I want you to trust the big brains who figured out that this MVP thing was the fastest and cheapest way to build a new product. Okay. So 90 days, 1,000 or 1,500 bucks to start. Person, problem, promise, and put a stake in the ground for three focus areas of 30 days each. So your potential buyers have some idea of what's going to happen between day one and day 90. All right. Grab the signature offer starter kit and get started. So, if you got something from this video today, I hope you'll give it a like. If you learn more than one thing, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so we can stay connected. And if you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments here on YouTube. I really do read them. I really do answer. So that's going to do it for me today. Until next time, see you later, alligators.